Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me. My name is Bradley Shaw. Tonight on Between the Covers, I'm talking to author Annie Chandler-Cummings, who's the author of the beautiful quartet. What is it? The Flower Quartet, isn't it?
The Flower
Quartet. And tonight we're talking about the first book in the series called A Daisy in the Field.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you for joining me again, Annie, to talk about this wonderful book. So please tell everyone watching what to expect about Daisy in the Field.
Right. Daisy in the Field is the first book of the Flower Quartet, and she is the youngest of the four people I write about. So it is about, the four books cover four women over three generations in one family. And Daisy, the first book, is actually the youngest granddaughter. The second book, A Lily in the Valley, is the grandmother. The third book, which has already been published by Shoreline, A Rose in the Garden, is Daisy's mother. And then the fourth book, Poppy in the Meadow, is Daisy's older sister. So, wow. Yeah, they're all out of, the last three are in order, but Daisy's just jumped ahead of the queue, which is probably very much like her personality.
Yeah.
Vibrant and out there, and, has made her way first.
That's good. Did you write them sequentially as the 1, 2, 3, 4, or did you write them in different pieces, or how was the process?
When I started and had the idea about Daisy and I started writing down, originally I had it as three sisters, and then that was put aside with work, etc., busy life. And when I came back to it, I had an epiphany, I suppose, and thought, well, everyone writes about the sisters and just one generation, and it's usually about the younger people and romance. And being myself coming up to 60, I thought, why can't I do it so there's romance over all three generations?
Yeah.
And so I replotted the characters. Daisy stayed the same and Poppy stayed the same, but I took the third sister out, Rose, and made her the mother, and then brought in Lily. And so I did write the synopsis of all four stories first, and the outcomes and the men included, and a rough outline of the story. Yeah. And then I started on Daisy because she was the one who spoke to me first. Mm-hmm. And throughout Daisy, you actually get introduced to, of course, all the other three characters, as you would, because they, at that time, they all lived together in the old family homestead, which was built by Lily and her late husband, and to where Rose and the girls came back after Rose's first husband was killed. Wow. So, and the father of Poppy and Daisy. So you are introduced to them all and learn them. And so by the time you get through to the last book, they follow on. They're all continue on in the books as well. And the family becomes bigger and bigger.
What would you tell someone who is starting out, based on what you've learned in writing? What would you say to them?
I'd say do it, and do it now. I started writing properly at 60. Yeah. You're never too old or too young to start writing. So do it. If it's a passion, do it. Even if you don't want to publish it as a book, get and do your writing Make it a journal. Write for your children. You know, my next foray, and I've started all 3 of them, for my grandchildren. I was just going to do one of those photo books with a story on it.
Yeah.
No, they want a book each that is published. So, you know, I started those. The move changed everything, and now I'm going to go. That's, you know, what I'm going to go back into. So there'll be 3 children's books coming your way to go through playtime.
I'll put that in the list.
Yes, put it in the list. So, you know, do it, write it. And one of the ladies I was talking to yesterday said that she's written a book, and she said, but it's not published. She went to a funeral, and the children got up and spoke so eloquently about their mother. And she said, I suddenly realised my kids would know nothing about my history or the history of my family from Scotland. So she wrote it down and published X number of books to give to the family. So that's what I'd say, you know, write.
Do
and get it out there. You know, no matter whether it's just printed off on your computer or whether you actually make it a book.
How do you know, or how do you recognize you've written a book that is worth publishing or worth submitting, or written a story that's worth writing? How do you know when that's the right time, the right thing for your writing as well?
I usually get people to read. You know, I have had people
sharing it out, get people's feedback.
Yes, and feedback early, even a chapter here and there. So people have read that, and I've given them a chapter at a time, and they've made notes and said, you know, how does that relate to this? I mean, even Daisy, from when I self-published that originally, and other people came back to me about one of the characters and said, oh, gee, we, you know, the way this, it kind of hung at the end, and Samantha picked that up too in the editing and said, Sarah, and said, you know, what about this? And so I changed it around this time, which I'd already started to write notes about and was waiting to see if professionally it was picked up. So I did tweak things and add a little bit to the story to make it more rounded. But that's what I have done, is to give out my writing bits and
take it on board.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a moment, Annie, to tell everybody watching that your book is available online and everywhere the books are sold. So you can go into your local bookshops, your libraries also, and grab a copy of Daisy in the Field, coming out this month in November, and also Rose in the Garden, which is out. And of course, the next couple, which is it? That's Lily
in the Valley.
Lily in the Valley comes out in March next year, and we have Poppy in the Field in July next year. So all 4 series will be out in the next 6 or 7 months. But at the moment, you can start reading. Daisy and Rose are available through us at Shoreline and at your bookstore. So please, everybody, support Annie and her wonderful writing and her journey of these wonderful women. And Annie, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been beautiful to talk to you as always.
Thank you.
So for everyone watching, thank you also for joining us, and grab a copy of Annie's books. And everyone take care. And now that we're out of lockdown, I hope everyone has a wonderful, good Christmas and gets to spend time with family, finally. So, everyone take care and stay safe, and buy a book and feed a hungry author.
Yes, that'd be lovely.
So good night, Annie. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Brad. Bye.
Bye.